What would you do if someone followed you into the wilderness? In 2020, the world was falling apart. Cities were going into lockdown, and people were stuck at home. For me, a passionate backpacker and camper, this was the ideal opportunity to escape, to find solitude in the great outdoors. One of my trips took me to a hidden creek in Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. I expected to find tranquility there, but instead, I encountered one of the most terrifying nights of my life. To grasp how everything unfolded, you need to know a little about what brought me to this point. In 2019, I made a significant error at work, one that cost people money and ultimately damaged my reputation. The aftermath was harsh. I received harassing messages, threats, and felt an overwhelming sense of being monitored. Eventually, I left my job. When I finally reached Rocky Mountain National Park, I thought I had escaped all the chaos of my life. The hike to the creek was peaceful, the snow crunching under my boots, and the air was fresh and invigorating. I set up my camp in solitude, lit a fire, cooked some sausages, and even started reading under the gentle glow of my headlamp. The stillness of winter enveloped me like a warm blanket. But then, my phone buzzed. At first, I assumed it was a message from family until I read the texts. "How's your camping going, buddy? It's beautiful out here. I see why you came up here." The words hit me hard, like a punch to the gut. My hands trembled as I typed back, "Who is this?" But deep down, I already sensed this wasn't just a friendly check-in. Someone was out there, with me, in the woods. The messages stopped, but my anxiety only grew. Every rustle of the trees and shadow in the distance felt threatening. Gripping my handgun for reassurance, I crawled into my tent, trying to distract myself with YouTube videos. I wanted to convince myself it was just a prank or my imagination running wild, until I heard it. Footsteps, crunching through the snow, slow and purposeful. They halted just 6 feet from my tent. My breath caught as a flash of light flickered against the fabric. A camera? A flashlight? I couldn't tell. Then my phone buzzed again. The message contained a photo of my tent, and the words that followed, "Have a good night's sleep." Adrenaline coursed through my veins. My fear transformed into something else, defiance. I unzipped the tent, fired 2 shots into the air, and shouted into the night. The footsteps retreated, crunching away more quickly this time, fading into the distance. The silence that followed was overwhelming, but it was a silence I held on to. Whoever had been stalking me was gone, at least for now. I stayed awake for hours, gun in hand, every nerve on high alert. When the sunlight finally poured into my tent the next morning, it felt like a lifeline. That was nearly 5 years ago, and I haven't been disturbed since. But even now, I can't shake the thought of how much worse that night could have been if I hadn't been ready, or if I'd let fear take over. Nature was meant to be my refuge. That night, it turned into the backdrop for one of the most terrifying experiences of my life.